What do you get when you take the warmongering trope, a less funny version of Mamo, and put it in a setting that seems oddly like the French Revolution, but also the aftermath of World War II? You get a wicked husband. I'm not sure if that quick summary makes sense to anyone other than myself, but it was the closest I could get to it in the most snappy way. The story starts off with an execution by guillotine, the crime selling opium. One of the many witnesses is our main character, Eileen Elrod, sometimes also known as Lily. Afraid, Eileen runs home from the gruesome scene, only to find the male lead, the Archduke Caesar Kessar Karl Ezrath. Yep, and I know I screwed up that pronunciation. Surprised by his sudden visit, he confronts her with her drug making. With the previously establishing scene showing how anyone associating themselves with the drugs are put to death, Eileen falls on her knees begging him that she has done the research on the drug for the sake of the war so she could repay his kindness he's shown her when they were growing up together. And that is when the Archduke surprises her and possibly even the audience with a change of tune and a proposal. Eileen refuses the proposal, unable to come to terms with how he could possibly like the daughter of his nursemaid, nor do anything intimate with her, which he quickly proves her wrong. A week later, Eileen notices her father hasn't come home in a long time, so she goes out looking for him in a sketchy part of town. A group of guys approach Eileen and were about to harass her until one of the Duke's personal guards scared them away. Both ask each other why they're in that same sketchy part of town, but neither of them are answering. With Diego dodging her questions, she chugs beer, possibly out of frustration, and then the Archduke surprises her. So, in between things happen, jump cut to yes, Diego knows where her father is, and it seems like the Archduke also knows where her father is, as he is the one that's holding him. But that is also when we found out why the Archduke is holding her father. He was intending on selling her. Eileen can't seem to find a way out of her troubles, but the Duke has. But why didn't he tell her? Eileen agrees to the Archduke's proposal, knowing this is the only way to be as free as she can be. Have you ever noticed something and after that you could never unnotice it once you read something? Well, I did. I saw a couple of French things happening in the story and it kind of became a little distracting. I'm pretty sure you can already guess what the French thing that distracted me, but it was the guillotine, sadly. Uh, France has a history of cutting people's heads off as a method of execution. The last time that happened was in 1977. The other thing I noticed was the clothing style of the characters, which to me suggests post World War II era. Despite the clothing style suggesting post World War II, the glasses that Elaine wears kind of look like the same styles that our parents wore in the 80s. It all seems just very strange with how the setting is. And I know it's very wrong for me making analysis on clothing and glasses. I am no expert on such things, but I have seen enough to at least be suspicious. The other thing that made me question the setting of the story is also the male lead, who is given the title of an archduke, which is usually given by those in the Holy Roman Empire. Now, I know that this is just my personal beef, and I know that most of the time that this would not bother most readers, but I find it a little bit weird when I see a lot of historical stuff, but also the lack of fantasy in the story to just make it a little bit more disconnected, especially when there's a lot of things that are very accurate to actual history or other things like that. Since I haven't actually seen any names or historical characters names being used in the story so far, I'm gonna put my own personal pet peeves aside and wait till the full story is out before giving a full analysis. Putting aside my own personal opinion, let's get back to the analysis. The art style is more realistic, which helps with what I'm assuming the story is trying to be. Similar to stories like Under the Oak Tree and Tempest Night, it will help greatly with telling a serious story rather than a light and fluffy one. The art uses dark colors to visually tell that there is something off about the event that goes on, possibly hinting towards the Archduke's mindset with his intentions towards Elaine. Or there could be possibly things that even we don't know about that's brewing beneath the surface. At this point, it is all just a mystery. The thing about the story that intrigues me the most is the tiny hints of the foreshadowing, like her mother insisting Eileen wearing glasses and possibly the Archduke's real reason for marrying Eileen. With only 10 chapters read so far, it is way too early to give off any definitive opinion. But if I have to lay down my personal opinion, which I'm not sure if I have hidden it well or not, I can say I'm not too interested in it. Eileen is like Mama with less sass and way more timid, while the Archduke is basically the same old black hair, red eye, warmongering trope that I've seen in many stories, and possibly being a yandere at the same time, which isn't to my taste at all. However, considering how many stories have these kind of characters, I would assume that they are extremely popular, and so you should check out the story if these elements are to your taste. Putting aside the things that I actually dislike from the story, I am still curious on how the story will end. And I would recommend you too to find out how the story ends for yourself. A Wicked Husband is currently available on Manta. There is also a special promotion that if you read 10 chapters, you can earn 10 gems and you can spend those gems on anything else available on Manta, or you could buy those chapters yourselves if you actually liked them enough. The promotion is available until October 2nd. Always remember to support the official release of any story you come across, especially if you enjoy it. We who make such entertainment and even pretty things to look at do need to be paid for our work, and we would love to be able to continue making these entertaining and pretty things. My job is to help you find said stories and hopefully spread stories to others, and it is a privilege to do so. You don't have to like, comment, or subscribe, but I would very much appreciate if you help my channel grow. And I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day. Bye bye now.